folks, welcome back to another episode of the Retail Perch. I know it seems like only yesterday since we did the last episode, but it's been over a month, Gary. And it's been a lot of traveling. So, and I'm sure you've been out as well, right? So,
yes, yeah, I know. It's hard to believe it's been a month, and it's also hard to believe that it's now the 1st of May. I don't know where
that is
this
right.
is
That's
going.
right. So, in between the last episode and this episode, I've been to a couple of countries and a few cities and seen a lot of people. But just hasn't been any time for an episode here, but we're glad to be back here again with Gary. And for those of you who are listening and not watching this on YouTube, you'd find that Gary and I have kind of matched up on our colors today on this episode. But that aside, today we don't have a real guest. We're going to have a virtual guest. And the virtual guest is somebody that you guys all know very, very well by this stage. It's our dear friend ChatGPT. And so, Gary, I guess we're going to welcome ChatGPT to our conversation.
That's right. That's right. I don't think ChatGPT will be sharing a cup of coffee with us, but it should make for a fascinating discussion here.
Yeah. So what we're going to do today is maybe I will take a couple of minutes just to, give you some basics about ChatGPT. And then we're going to ask ChatGPT a series of questions tied to retail. And then we're going to find out where it does well and where we know it fails. And we've actually identified a few things where, you could go wrong if you're using ChatGPT. I know a lot of you guys maybe have kids, maybe they're in college and they're excited about ChatGPT because they're getting their homeworks done a whole lot faster than they ever did before, especially if they're about writing essays. But there are some things that you can't trust it for yet. And of course, it's only been, 5 months, Gary, since we heard about ChatGPT?
Yes, but
open to the public, right?
Yeah, but it's become pretty widely known and widely used in those 5 months.
And it seems like, a lot of the literature that we're reading nowadays is everybody's exploring the impact of AI. And suddenly the whole idea that, geez, this AI thing is real and it's not just some buzzword that we've been using is all here, right?
No, that's right. I think what's happened is for the first time, a lot of business executives and others have been able to experience AI themselves, right? Going on and using it. And through that process, it's brought AI into the boardroom, right? Where, executives now are saying, hey, what are we doing in AI? And we need to be doing this, this, and this, right? So it's caused this explosion in activity.
Yeah, and I would say it's something close to what the internet did. I mean, I think the internet obviously transformed our lives completely by connecting us. But ChatGPT does something else. I mean, at least our technologies like its kind, they kind of make the universe of knowledge accessible to anybody and everybody.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, it's
pretty amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And, we're going to talk today about some of the limitations of it. But, I'll tell you, the first time I went on and began asking questions, and it almost developed into a dialogue back and forth, right? Because I would ask another question based on whatever the response was. So it became almost like a conversation. And when I got done and sat back, it really struck me. It was like almost like Star Trek's computer had come to life.
Absolutely. And while you're saying that, Gary, I'm just telling ChatGPT that you'll be participating in an episode of the Retail Perch, a podcast about retail, tech, and trends. And it says, that sounds great. I'm always happy to talk about retail, techs, and trends. What topics will we be discussing on the podcast episode? So that's ChatGPT. I wish it had a voice, but I'm going to shortly share the screen so we can, so you guys who are watching this on YouTube can actually see this as well. But maybe before I do that, quick foundation here about, what these ChatGPT bots are. And I see a lot of companies starting to integrate ChatGPT into their applications. And I think we've heard in the retail side, companies like Instacart trying to use it. Yes. And I think the idea is, how can we improve search? How can we improve recommendations to shoppers and the like. But having said that, so if I were to give you a 1-minute overview, for those of you who don't know how the inner workings of ChatGPT works, here's how it goes. So essentially, ChatGPT is using an AI model called Transformers, which was based on a paper released in 2016 by some engineers at Google, which said attention is all you need. That was the foundational paper that generated these kinds of algorithms. And what ChatGPT really is, it's called a large language model. So it's been trained on consuming a huge corpus of text, in this case, based on the open internet, and then understanding the relationships between words, and then based on a prompt, resulting in text that makes most sense based on the words that it has learned, right? Or the relationships between them. So I think it's very clear to, I want to make it very clear, it's not a search engine. It's not a fact-finding engine. Right. It's a language model that just generates language, which it thinks makes sense. And we're going to show you some examples of where, it obviously fails. So Gary, what do you, I'm going to invite ChatGPT here to our conversation here. What is the first question you'd like to?
So let's ask, how powerful is marketing personalization in retail?
How powerful is marketing personalization? Says marketing personalization is a powerful tool in retail that can help businesses to connect with customers on a more individual level. By personalizing marketing messages, retailers can create a more relevant and engaging experience for customers, leading to increased customer loyalty, higher conversion rates, and improved overall revenue. I'd agree with that. Would you?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
There are several ways that marketing personalization can be implemented in retail. One way is through targeted email campaigns, where retailers send personalized emails to customers based on their previous purchases or browsing history. These emails can include personalized product recommendations, discounts, or other incentives that are tailored to each customer's interests and needs. Bingo, Gary?
Yeah. No,
Another way that marketing personalization can be implemented is through personalized product recommendations on a retailer's website or mobile app. By using machine learning algorithms to analyze the customer's purchase and browsing history, retailers can offer product recommendations that are tailored to the customer's preferences and interests.
Yeah.
Check mark on that. Marketing personalization can also be implemented through personalized advertising. By using customer data to target advertising campaigns, retailers can ensure that their advertising messages are delivered to the right customers at the right time, increasing the likelihood of conversion.
Yeah.
In summary, marketing personalization is a powerful tool that can help businesses to connect with customers on a more individual level. By offering personalized experiences, retailers can increase customer loyalty, improve conversion rates, and drive overall revenue growth. This sounds like a pitch for a company that I know.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
Right? That's amazing. So I'd say ChatGPT did 9.9 out of 10 on that answer.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah.
All right. So here's a question I have for ChatGPT about the possibility of AI, right? If I gave you a shopper's purchase history and a catalog of items sold in the store, would you be able to recommend products that the shopper has not yet purchased, but is likely interested in? This is, where everybody's trying to increase basket, right? Here's what ChatGPT says. It says, as an AI language model, I can analyze a shopper's purchase history and a catalog of items sold in the store to recommend products. This is often referred to as product recommendation or product recommendation engine. To make accurate product recommendations, machine learning algorithms can be used to analyze the purchase and browsing history, as well as other relevant data points, such as demographic information, location, and seasonal trends. By using this data, the algorithm can identify patterns and correlations that help to predict what products the customer is likely to be interested in. And it keeps going, the several approaches to this: collaborative filtering, content-based filtering, hybrid approaches.
Yeah.
But, I'd say 9+ on 10.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, no, again, it did a very good job of answering that.
right.
Hmm.
So let's say, would you be able to detect customer churn? So it says, as an AI language model, I can analyze customer data and identify patterns that may indicate customer churn, which in the process where a customer stops doing business with a company or stops buying their product. Detecting customer churn is an important task for retailers as it helps them to proactively address issues that retain customers before they leave. And I think, for most retailers, they want to do this. They want to take action before somebody has lapsed,
Oh,
right? Getting
absolutely.
clear indications that somebody is tending in that direction helps you to intervene. There are several indicators of customer churn that can be analyzed using machine learning, including a decrease in purchase frequency, a decrease in the average order value, decrease in engagement with marketing campaigns, or a decrease in the number of visits to a store or website. I mean, these all seem like total common sense, but to be able to automate this and do this is, I guess, where the magic lies, right, Gary?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So, Shekar, let's just take a second and talk about what, if we were to do that, what's happening behind the scenes? Because we started out by you providing sort of an overall high-level view of ChatGPT and how it works. Words that appear together, etc. So it would be looking at the purchase frequency of different items, purchase dates, so it's understanding frequency, and then using that to
So I think what we have to remember here is that since it's a language model, it converts everything it receives into these what we call word embeddings, right?
Yeah.
Some kind of vectors. And what it's really trying to do at the end of the day is trying to figure out what is the most likely next word given the previous words. So when you ask it a question about what else a customer could buy, what it's really trying to do under the hood is trying to predict, okay, based on this question, what is the next most likely item that I should present to it?
Yeah.
And so if you train it on the right data, right? So if you've given it a catalog of what the customer buys with additional descriptions of those products, right? And maybe history of several other customers who bought those kind of products.
Yeah.
It is then able to do a good matching and saying, hey, based on what I've learned, here's what I think this customer is able to buy. Now, obviously, this is easier said than done, and I'm kind of converting this into kindergarten level. But I believe that, with enough data, these things can do anything.
So I've read of what appears to be a growing number of companies that are using generative AI like this, but training it on their own language models, right? Using their own data from their business. So instead of using the open internet and, however many terabytes of data, businesses are training the models on their own sets of data.
That is absolutely right, Gary. And I think that's where you start. So I think there's two types here that you can think about. So you have purpose-built engines, right? So I've heard of people building out like medical AIs, right, which are trained on just a lot of medical literature.
Yeah.
And so it's trying to be as accurate as possible. In fact, today I read a news article about about the advice that ChatGPT gave was far more accurate than what a majority of, a lot of doctors would have given for a specific situation. And clearly, it has access to more data. So I think if you train it on specific data, I think then the only context under which it answers those questions is based on the data that is pulled in. So it's not able, yeah, it's not too broad,
Right,
right?
right.
So I think, yeah, I think I mean, I can see a day where you have an AI that you feed all your retailer specific data into, right?
Yeah,
And you can ask it a question and it's able to generate answers based on your own data, right?
yes.
And
Yeah.
with some ability to do some verification and fact checking, I think you can have a model that's, incredibly valuable, right?
So could you take that thought in another direction? Could I, as an individual, effectively feed it all of my data? My emails, my calendar, my to-do list, my contact list, my search history on the web, et cetera, and turn it into or help it to become almost an intelligent agent for me?
Completely, Gary. I don't think it's far, and I think maybe this is a great idea for an entrepreneur out there listening to even do. If I had a tool where I could connect it into my, like an aggregation engine, where I give it all my social media
Yeah,
handles, give it my email handle, whatever it is, and it's able to suck in all that information, aggregate it in one place, and use it as the basis for training an AI. Yeah, gets my calendar, gets all my stuff and contacts, whatever it is,
right.
all the information that I hold. I don't see why you can't have a personalized assistant that's essentially you
Yeah,
for all
yeah.
practical purposes.
No, no, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, pretty soon, we would have guests on our retail perch and we wouldn't be sure if it's a real person or they would pass the Turing test, so to say.
So interestingly, I just spoke to a company the other day that is a big player in the world of video, like live shopping, that type of thing. They have now secured IP around combining AI generated video with generative AI systems such that they are able to customize a video message, right, using these AI tools. So it's mass customization of video that can be personalized to 10 million different shoppers, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. So I'm going to ask you one more question here, Gary. What are the benefits of having a loyalty program at a retail chain? And let's see if it thinks there are benefits. So it says there are several benefits of having a loyalty program, including increased customer retention.
Yeah.
Loyalty programs provide incentives for customers to keep coming back to the store, which can increase customer retention, reduce customer churn. Improved customer engagement by offering rewards and incentives. Loyalty programs can increase customer engagement and encourage customers to interact more frequently with the store or brand, Enhanced customer insights. Loyalty programs can provide retailers with valuable data about their customers' behavior and preferences, including purchase history, demographics, product preferences. This data can be used to personalize marketing messages and improve the overall customer experience. Increase customer spend.
Yeah.
Improved brand advocacy, better inventory management. I mean,
Yeah.
like, hit it out of the park on this one.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's it.
Yeah, that's it, right? I mean, if
Yeah.
somebody were to come in here and had a question on should I have loyalty in my store or not? I mean, I think the answer is pretty obvious from what I can
Yes.
see here, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to ask it, what is the best kind of loyalty program uh, for a retail chain? So, for a retailer to implement. I know there's people who do different kinds, but let's see what ChatGPT says.
Yeah. Wow.
So it says the best kind of loyalty programs for a retailer to implement depends on several factors, including the retailer's business model, target market, and overall goals. That being said, there are several types of loyalty programs that have been shown to be effective for retailers. 1, points-based programs. 2, tiered programs. 3, cashback programs. 4, coalition programs.
Wow.
That's amazing. Each of them has details. I'm not going to go through this. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can read it. But essentially, we know what points-based programs, tiered programs, cashback, and
yeah. Wow,
it's a pretty complete list.
No,
what it does say is when designing a loyalty program, it's important to keep in mind the specific goals and needs of the retailer, as well as the preferences and behavior of their target market. The best kind of loyalty program is one that is tailored to the unique needs of the retailer and their customers, and that provides a clear and compelling value proposition to customers. And I think that last part is really important because a lot of people design programs that could be too complicated for people to understand. I think having a clear and compelling value proposition is probably the most important thing, in my opinion. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that gets more people participating, more people understanding the program, more people getting excited about the program.
Yeah.
Which concerns me about some of the loyalty programs that I see out there, that they started off really strong and then they start getting really complicated. I've seen that, Gary. I don't know if you noticed, but with some of these airline programs, just to be very simple. You fly a certain number of miles, you get these miles, and you get status. Now they've kind of confused with these points and dollars spent, and it's just
and different credit cards and partners, and
it made it very complicated. I don't know if any airline executive out there listening, but you got to simplify this.
But same lesson applies to retail.
That's right.
And it's a point well taken, that retailers would do well to keep it straightforward, easy to understand, and focus on defining the right value proposition to drive and encourage engagement.
So I'm going to ask it a big question. I don't know what the answer is to this. I'm going to ask it, are digital coupons an effective tool for marketing in grocery retail? So it says, this is not me, this is ChatGPT. Yes, digital coupons can be a very effective tool for marketing in grocery retail. Digital coupons offer several advantages over traditional paper coupons, including 1, convenience; 2, personalization; 3, real-time tracking; 4, cost effectiveness; 5, increased engagement; 6, reduced fraud. Overall, digital coupons can be effective for grocery retailers looking to increase sales, improve customer engagement, and build loyalty. By providing personalized and convenient offers to customers, retailers can encourage them to make more frequent and larger purchases while also improving overall customer experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm feeling embarrassed to continue with this because this is all we've been talking about on the Retail Perch over the last 2 years. This is fascinating. I mean, I think if you were just a retailer and go on and you were looking for generic information, I think there's a ton of information here, right? But when it comes to factual stuff, there can be some issues, right? When we found out. And so I'm going to ask it the question, what was it, Gary? What is the Retail Perch?
Let's see. Tell me about the Retail Perch podcast.
Okay, so listen, I just asked it, what is the Retail Perch? It said, the Retail Perch is a podcast about retail technology and trends. Correct, so far. Yep. Hosted by Steve Horniak and Matt Gunn. I guess you're Steve and I'm Matt. Is that what it is? Okay.
I don't know, must be.
Okay. The podcast explores various topics related to the retail industry, including e-commerce, omnichannel retail, customer experience, and emerging technologies. Good. Each episode features interviews with industry experts and thought leaders, as well as discussions on current events and trends in the retail world. Good. The Retail Perch aims to provide valuable insights and perspective for retailers, technology providers, and anyone else interested in the ever-changing landscape of retail. So I think I got everything right, except the hosted by. So I'm going to go check my driver's license to make sure my name didn't change recently to one of these two.
Yes.
But clearly, there are some facts that it doesn't quite get right. And so if you're using ChatGPT and expecting answers that are going to check out factually, it may be wrong. It seems to do pretty well with concepts, though.
Yeah, it does. And I guess depending upon what the subject is, the facts can be correct, right? Because I've read of ChatGPT, for example, passing the bar exam, right? That someone loaded up, or the MCATs, the medical test.
Right. So I'm going to ask it a very simple question. Which is healthier, a carbonated sugared beverage or plain water? And let's see what it says. Plain water is generally considered to be healthier. Generally, come on, it's always a sugared beverage. Here are a few reasons why. Hydration. Water is essential for proper functioning of the body. Calories, sugar content, nutrient content. Yeah, so I guess it got it right. So I think maybe you do okay. I have seen people use it for recipes. Hey,
Yeah,
I have these 4 ingredients. Can you suggest a recipe that would work with that? So I think it's terrific for things like that. So I think that's really where it starts shining, is where since it's trying to put coherent words together, if you're asking for something specific, it tries to tailor it to that question, which is, what has given rise to this new profession out there, Gary, called prompt engineering,
yeah.
which is how to ask the question in a way that prompts ChatGPT to give you an answer that's useful.
Yeah, to get the best response.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, I think that was super interesting. I just wanted to let you guys know that it's an incredibly powerful tool. But there is clear limitations in terms of what it can do. If you're depending on factual answers, I think you will be disappointed in some cases. A lot of times it does do right. I mean, if you ask it to provide a list of the all-time MLB team, it'll probably give you an answer that's really interesting, that will spark a lot of conversations. But if you start asking it questions which are pure fact-based, then it may get it wrong. But all in all, I think incredible tool, Gary.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I find myself using it fairly often for different things, as I think a lot of people are. But if nothing else, as we talked about early on, I think ChatGPT is absolutely triggered explosive interest in the use of AI.
Yeah. Well, to sign off, I asked ChatGPT, I said, thanks for participating as a guest on the Retail Perch. And ChatGPT said, you're welcome. It was a pleasure to participate and share my knowledge about retail, technology, and trends. If you or your listeners have any further questions or topics they'd like me to discuss, feel free to reach out anytime. I guess that was a nice guest. So listen, it's been terrific chatting with you guys, and I'm sure we'll pick up a few more prompts with ChatGPT in the ongoing episodes. And
Yes.
but we will have more guests. But hopefully you enjoyed our guest this time. Gary, any other closing thoughts?
Okay. No, I think that was a very interesting episode today, and I'm sure we can invite ChatGPT back at some point in the future for another guest appearance.
No, I don't think there's an issue with calendar conflicts here at all. So easy to do that. Well, folks, it's been great talking to you again, back here again, and we should be back here pretty soon with some exciting guests. But before that, it's bye from Gary and me, Shekar.
Right. Thank you.
Make sure to join us every Monday and connect with us at the Retail Perch on Instagram and Facebook.
And if you have any questions, feel free to email us at theretailperch@birdseye.com.
Until next time, this is Shekar.
And this is Gary, signing off.